Hello, I am so excited to be doing this video because it's all about the culture shocks of Europe, living in Europe, because we experience both France and Portugal.
We could actually speak to both Portugal and France a little bit, mainly France because we've been here the longest. So.
And it's slightly different than Portugal. Anyway, I wanted to explain a little bit that, yes, it's a very modern society. Just like in the United States, we have absolutely any services or facilities that you can think of. However, the approach and the view on what's important is very different. So it is critical to have an open mind and not think like things should be done as it is done in the United States.
Or you get in trouble.
Because, you will get frustrated and you're not learning something new, which is the whole point of moving abroad is...
New adventure, taking on new things. Yeah.
So that's important to say because if you're not going to be like that, if you're not going to be that open-minded, this is not the right thing to do, moving abroad. Perhaps come for short-term periods, but not completely moving.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So long lists of things to talk about. We're brainstorming. What do we share? And there's a lot of a lot of juicy ones. So I think, I don't know, if I'm going to pick one, let's start with the pace of life, right? And I've talked about the differences in one of my Beneath the Surface videos. If you haven't checked out my channel, please do. I'll put it in the description below, where I talk about how the US moves fast. There's a speed to the US. Things move. And here in France...
And the customer is always right. That is,
the customer is always right, yeah. And here the approach is, we've seen it definitely in Portugal and here in France, is things go slower. They're not only as a tempo, as a way of living, but when it comes to bureaucratic aspects of life, there's layers. There's just layers to things. There's doors to walk through.
And less communication. If they have nothing to say or a solution, they don't...
Radio silence. We have that happening right now with our working visas that we're trying to renew. We are here as visitors, so we keep renewing those long term. But the working visas were submitted end of August. And what is it now, 7 months? Nothing. And we would not know that we're in the system had we not gone in January to pick up our renewals for our visitor visas. And a nice woman, because we insisted, said, "Oh, you're those people. And yes, you're in the system. It's with the ministry." And now who knows what's going to happen.
I got recognized. I got to say, I got recognized because in my submission, I put photography of my jewelry in.
The woman says, "That's you." That's, which thank goodness.
Which was so funny.
And so we're like, so we left our information with her. And I should have grabbed her phone number.
But nobody would ever talk to you.
And she says, "Give me a few weeks. It could take a few weeks. I'll find out. I'll get back to you." Nothing.
And it's been
as nice
2 months.
As she was, as helpful as she seemed, it's like if they don't have anything for you, nothing's going to happen.
For a long time, we thought the mail lost it or something. But
so patience is key. Embracing that it's a new rhythm, and that rhythm actually works. It does work here because you get to slow down during lunch hours. You slow down, you take vacations, you go slower, and you live an easier, more paced way of life.
Yeah, but for an American mentality, actually not knowing is actually stressful. So the slowness is counter to your... So you need, that's why the shift in how you see life, on how you kind of have to surrender.
Yes. Now, have we fully surrendered? I think two things are happening. For me, anyway. You try to surrender and you go, I get to relax and have some wine and enjoy life more. And on the flip side, the American in you comes out.
Yeah.
And you have to deal with, I'm stressed. How do I work through my stress and my anxiety and my expectations? But you are in a new context. And ultimately, you have to become as French as you can.
Yeah.
Because this is your life.
Yep.
Right?
Even the French say they're frustrated with their own system, but it's not going to change because it's just so embedded. It's so locked in. Yeah.
We had, I just want to mention, maybe in passing here, the doors. Cecilia documented the building of our.
I have another channel in which I show the process of living the French countryside life here in France, and I'm remodeling.
An artist life, which I'll put in the description as well.
And I'm remodeling, updating the house as much as possible. We bought a house that actually was very modernized, but still was not to our standards, let's just say.
Right.
So adding all that.
We built, like good Americans that we are, we built out an entire new bathroom upstairs, which is gorgeous, and she's going to show it. But the contractor measured incorrectly with respect to the glass panels.
No, he didn't measure incorrectly.
Well, he measured with an expectation of how it should be. And these doors came from Poland, I guess, slightly different, like by centimeters we're talking about. And
we had to order a custom-made panel to swap it, and we wanted it from the same manufacturer, so we had to wait like, 4 months?
4 months. It was like pulling teeth, reaching out. The guy was actually ultimately really nice.
They're always very nice.
He even shipped it at no cost directly to us. We were supposed to go pick it up, but the radio silence can
Oh my
kill
God.
you. Oh my goodness. And I would call him, leave him messages, nothing until he was ready to say something, or he had heard enough from me to eventually have to apologize. I'm doing my best. It's just endless. It can be endlessly frustrating.
Now, the thing is, we are trying to be very conscious. We don't want to be the annoying Americans. So we are trying to embrace things the best we can. But sometimes, it gets the best out of you. I want to throw like a fun one. Let's just throw a fun one.
Let's have fun.
One big shocker for me that I haven't heard out there, and I've seen it multiple times, is men especially peeing in the middle of Paris. Like you're walking and all of a sudden you see a guy against the wall of a building peeing just right there.
First time I saw this was in the countryside. I remember somewhere.
I saw it in Paris.
Off the side of the road. And I thought, maybe it's just...
He couldn't hold it.
First of all, you go, are they doing what I think they're doing? And you're like, yeah, they are. And you're like, okay, it's a one-off. It's some weirdo peeing in Paris or whatever.
No.
And you keep seeing it. I saw a kid.
No, kids, I understand.
Kid maybe is a little... But
even that's a little weird too.
The mother's standing nearby, no problem. He pulls down his pants in the middle of a large Parisian avenue. And he just goes to town.
We're talking like a 8-year-old, 9-year-old. Yeah.
Not an issue. Apparently, it's not an issue here. Now, similar to that one was when we renewed the first year. Actually, when we came to France for the first time and you had to register yourself and they required the medical exam.
Yeah.
The first time when you're first getting your entry into the country, they want to know for whatever reason at the beginning only that you're in good medical shape. And so what happened? They did x-rays.
They do x-rays, they check your lungs, and it's really strange. You go into this room, they give you a gown, you put it on. But when the technician in this particular case was a male, comes, there's no nurse. And you're supposed to remove the gown in front of this male technician. And I'm like, I have no problem with nudity, but I'm like, either I want my husband or a nurse present. And the guy was shocked. Like, what?
Yeah.
So
you had to demand.
Yeah, I have to ask. And, they kind of like complain, but I'm like, I'm not taking the x-ray unless there's a third person in the room.
Yeah, so apparently no issues with that. Just a quick note that for those of you who are planning to move abroad, or maybe you have already, we have started to do consultations with people, one-on-one interactions, where we talk about the planning of your journey, perhaps, or the finding of your home in your new place, settling in, all the sort of challenges that come up as you go through this pretty intense journey that is full of ups and downs and lots to navigate. So if that interests you, I'll put some information in the description below. Please reach out, and we hope to talk to you if that interests you. Doctor visits. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
That was a bit of a culture shocker because...
We still kind of like, whoa.
First of all, we are navigating with... all we have at the moment is private insurance because we can't get into the system yet. So we're the ones sort of, seeking out whoever.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as doctors, we're kind of, I don't know if you're in the system, if that changes as far as recommendations and how that works, but we're having, not only that we don't have medical services here in the countryside to the degree that you get in Paris. So
that's throughout the country. That
had to be pushed aside. So we started, navigating Paris. And so we found, let's start with our general doctor the first time, getting to his place. I went alone. And it was this, I compared to Get Smart, where you're going through, you got codes, you're going through doors.
And they're not clinics. This is like
these are old buildings.
An apartment converted into his own, office to see patients.
Well, they're like, and we've seen this over and over again, right?
Yeah.
We're in these old structures, going up flights, punching in codes.
Yes.
And you get into the actual space, and there's not necessarily a receptionist or anyone greeting you.
No one.
So you sit down. I mean, I've had it with my dermatologist, yes. The first time, no. The next time, yes.
Okay.
So it depends on the hours. And then the doctor comes out, grabs you, and you go in and you do your visit. And it's very pragmatic, I would say, where it's like, what are your needs? It's not like I'm going to, check you out, see what's going on, and we're going to discuss different issues. It's like, you tell me what you need, and we'll find a solution. So, very different. It works, but you kind of have to drive it. You have to be a driver in the process.
I went to see the general doctor because after 2 years of traveling, we wanted a full blood test done, which was fantastic here, by the way. And it's so different than in United States.
It's more affordable. It's more thorough. That went really well.
Yes.
I'm really pleased with some of the results we've gotten.
But let's stay on task. Mm-hmm. So I went to see the general doctor, and the relationship or the interaction with the doctor was like he's making eye contact and almost like he really cares to hear you. Mm-hmm. There is no clock energy. When you go in United States and you're on the clock because 15 minutes after you, there's the next patient time and they're very specific slots. That's not how it is in Europe. You take the time you need. And that goes with everything. In the supermarket line, you take the time you need. When you go see a doctor, you take the time you need.
Well, you know what I've noticed?
It's not about efficiency and keeping on a schedule.
Mm-hmm. I've noticed, let's talk about the supermarket. I've noticed that when somebody's ahead of you and they're talking to the cashier, say they know each other, they're going to engage in a conversation for as long as it takes to finish even though you're waiting, and it may not be just you, but a line of people.
Yes.
You deal with the customer, you engage, you do the sort of formalities that are part of seeing someone you know or chatting with someone. And then once they go, you advance and it's your turn.
Yeah, there is.
And then add to that another culture shocker when they're writing a check and you have to wait for that process to happen.
Oh my God.
Which adds to, and we've seen people pay by check and take their sweet time as the cashier's talking to them and they're discussing we don't know what. And you're in the US, you're screaming. You're like, calling the manager, like, what the heck's going on? I need to get through.
No, and then the manager's all opening another cashier check so the customer doesn't. No, here you could be waiting forever in line.
I mean,
nobody's gonna be.
In a funny way, you adapt to it. You're like, oh well, when it's me that has the turn, I want to be taking my time, putting everything in my bags. You put stuff in bags. When you're done, packed,
nobody's rushing you.
Then the next person comes through. So it's kind of like, well, if I do that for others, that happens for me too. So
I want to clarify. In Paris, it's different. In Paris, yes, there is a little bit of like. A lot of more complaining.
Sure, it's a faster.
We live in an hour away from Paris on the countryside.
Let's not override the fact that I said writing checks, which you see here in
all the time.
France way more than you would expect, and we're like, guys, like credit cards. Come on, it's like 2025.
And cash. A lot of people use cash here a lot.
Yeah.
So that's funny.
So tell me about, here's a good one, goods and services not being heavily marketed and pushed on you. And you always mention how it's hard to find websites for companies.
Oh my God.
Tell me about that.
In my other channel, I get a lot of requests. Where did you get your blouse, or where did you buy your outfit? And unfortunately, I have to explain. I bought it at a boutique, but the boutique doesn't have an online presence, and that's very normal here. Obviously, the big stores do have websites, but they're not comprehensive. So I find that also very strange.
They can be hard to navigate or lacking information.
Yes, the websites that are stuck in 1990. They have really old aesthetics.
In the US, if I'm going to compare, you have to have a sharp image online, full disclosure on what you do, and you want to grab people. You want to make it sticky so that they stay, they buy, and they come back.
I have one other one that I want to share, and then I think, that's a lot.
It's a lot.
And we have a lot more.
Yeah.
But even on really fancy restaurants, buildings, stores, they're stuck in the 1970s, 80s. They don't renovate or update things as in United States. Things tend to stay. If they work, they're going to stay like that. So for the longest time for us, we kept judging, and you learn not to do that. We kept judging, the prices don't make sense with this space. Well, their focus is quality on their art, let's say food. And it might be an amazing restaurant, but it looks very outdated.
We have one 5-6 minutes away. It's been Michelin recognized. The food was quite good. But you go in and you're blinded by these patterns, the use of purple.
Outdated.
I think purple should be banned from restaurants. But so, we try to keep this very sort of candid, we tend to, when we talk, bounce off each other and jump around different ideas. I think that's a pretty good amount of shockers for this video. If you guys enjoyed this, we'll do another. There are a couple items that we didn't touch on, and the longer we stay here, the more we learn about the system and things that we can talk about, so that we're happy to share.
But I think, to wrap it up, the important thing is you have to go with the attitude that this is fun. This is for your own personal growth. It really expands your compassion and your understanding of the world. It's a very good thing.
It's an eye-opening experience.
It's an eye-opening
experience.
Experience.
And spiritually opening experience.
But it's very hard. I must say, I have quite a few times in which I miss the easiness of United States. Not the bills, and because with easiness come higher prices. Everything is cha-ching, cha-ching, right?
Yeah.
I do miss certain aesthetics but when I really, really think about it, the qualities of what's important to me is here.
Yeah. Still a great move, no matter what.
No matter what.
It's exactly where we want to be, where we feel we need to be. So
we hope this was useful.
Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you have moved abroad, if you live in Europe, if you live in France, tell us in the comments what your experience has been like.
Or if you're thinking of moving, what are your concerns? What are the culture shocks that stress you out, or that you couldn't be without in that are from United States or from whatever country you live in that are different here in Europe?
Right. As I mentioned earlier, we are doing consultations with people now, one-on-one, providing support in navigating this big journey if you're undertaking one and could use the outside support. A lot of it is the psychological aspect of
I think
this.
that's 90% of it.
The spiritual, the sort of foundational, being in a position where you feel sure of yourself and can keep coming back to this whole intense journey in spite of its ups and downs, because those are inevitable.
The support system is important to have, especially when you're starting having those doubtful cracks, and you kind of like lose the enthusiasm.
Yes,
so
and that happens for sure. It's guaranteed. in such an, like I say, intense, I like using that word, and long-term process. It takes years. So anyway, drop us an email if that interests you, movingabroadjc@gmail.com. The information is below. And other than that, thanks again for watching.
And I want to say, you get the two of us.
Yes. Yes, you do. In any case, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.